Welcome to the Daily Grind with Jen. I'm your host, Jen Hernandez. I've got my cup of goodness here and I am ready to get to it. Well, in today's episode, I'm going to try and give you a Cliff Notes update on Team Hernandez, get you guys up to speed on how everybody's doing. And I'll also be sharing about how I've chosen to manage my kids' virtual school calendar as well as the rest of our household activities. I have a girlfriend who, shortly after I became a wife and a stepmother, had shared with me a little bit of advice. And she said, Jen, I truly believe that we are first called to our families. And in order to meet my family's needs this last spring and summer, and even, continuing now, I needed to take an extended summer break from the podcast. Mike and I have talked about walking away completely from the podcast, but I'm just not quite ready to walk away from it. It has been a way to include friends and family in our lives, also a way for me to really just take a beat to reflect. Summer break for the podcast is over now, though, and the new schedule that we're going to try to go with will be to do an episode every other week. And in terms of everybody else in the household, so that was just, podcast business. So everybody else in the household, I did end up going on that family camping trip that I had been saying, I really want to go back in one of the last podcast episodes. We actually did a handful of shorter camping trips this year. So in the past, we've gone probably for a week or two in the summer. But this year has just been weird all around. And I ended up having to use the majority of my leave to play teacher for my kids for the second half of their school year. Mike ended up switching jobs partway through the summer as well. So neither one of us really had a lot of leave. We just felt very limited. So for us, what ended up working better were just the shorter, anywhere from 2 nights to 3 days camping trips. But you know what? We had an absolute blast, and I don't think our kids even necessarily realized that we didn't go on the big camping trip that we normally do, because we did try and do a handful of them throughout. Also, when we go camping, in the past, we've gone to various different locations, and this year though, it's no. It's we picked a home base and we just kept going back there. And I think that actually added to, at least for me, some of the relaxation to it. It's I knew, I know where we're going to go. I know we have 3 to 4 camp spots there that we really like, that we try to get. And each time we went, we got at least one of those campsites that we really like. So that was pretty awesome too. And the kids were we're all familiar with it, right? So we got that sense of getting away from home and what was hectic for at least me when in the household, with work and trying to balance everything. So we felt like we were away, but we also had the familiarity of a location that we enjoy, that we love. We love doing stuff there on the campgrounds. We also like that town and that area. And it's not too terribly far from home. So it was great. In fact, on one of the camping trips, my stepdaughter and her husband joined us for the day. And honestly, that was probably my favorite camping trip of the camping season. And it really probably boils down to the fact that, Mariah and Austin came and just spent time with us. It was for my husband's birthday weekend, and we actually had no clue that they were coming up. They sent us a text when they were 10 minutes out. They're like, hey, what was the campground you guys are at again? And it was just so much fun. They brought their little puppy, Oakley. And oh my gosh, that dog is cute. And Elena, my youngest daughter, just went bananas for Oakley, just wanting to love on him and take him all around with her. So yes, it was a great camping trip. In fact, all of the trips this year were wonderful. And we have not quite committed to winterizing the trailer yet. I still think that we can I'm not too sure how we're going to squeeze it in with the schedule that we currently have, but I feel like there is at least one more camping trip in us before we winterize the trailer. I guess I'm kind of in denial that we are coming to the end of summer. The big update for Jordan is that he graduated. He had previously graduated basic training. That's when he turned green. And he has since graduated what they call AIT. So a number of his cohorts, got shipped off to wherever their first base was going to be. However, Jordan, he's not done. He's not done with his training. When he entered into the Army, he had some really solid goals that he was hoping to achieve, and he is still on track with them. He is still at the same location. He is still training his little heart out. We at least get to talk to him every once in a while. So there has been some loosening up on the phone restrictions. We've even got to FaceTime with him a couple of times. And every time, we get a text from him or a call or we get to FaceTime, it really does something to the entire household. It just brings this levity to it, this joy. And it's because we miss him. That's really what it boils down to. We miss him so much. And to have a moment where we can connect with him, it really does breathe life into everybody here. And it's just exciting to see how he has grown so much and really come into his own. When I think about kind of who Jordan was when last February, when he got married and he entered into basic training, I mean, he was a great kid, hands down. And he had already showed a lot of growth and maturity. But when I think about who he is now, flash forward, a handful of months, the Army's been amazing for him. He has grown so much into his self and I can tell that he has confidence in himself and in the goal. He knows that it's hard and he is working his tail feather off. I don't think I have ever seen him work so diligently and so hard for anything. And so it's exciting to see your kid grow and become an adult. He is going through that process right now, and watching him really kind of own what he is hoping to be, his career field and his future is really exciting. So yeah, that's the good stuff there with him. Mariah and Austin are doing really good as well. I had shared a little bit about her before. She got a puppy, and he's super cute. Oh my gosh. And that little dog goes with her everywhere. She loves that puppy dog. So Rye's a little bit like me. So she is still having to telework from home. But, for her, it's been, a really great positive experience. She ended up getting this puppy partway through COVID. And so now she has this really wonderful bond with Oakley, her dog. And that's probably why he goes everywhere with her. He is a mama's boy for sure. And she is doing great with work. She seems really just pleased with life right now. And that is also something that is such a great joy to kind of experience as her stepmom, to watch her just really flourish, because that's what she's doing right now. She's just flourishing. She's so beautiful. It's just awesome. And my stepson Austin, or my son-in-law Austin, is also doing great for the first time ever. He has weekends off. And I know at some point he's going to have to go back to working on the weekends, but at least for a season, it's just been so wonderful because they've been able to go and spend time together and do little trips and just kind of get out more than they have had the ability to do in so long because of his job. I mean, that kid works so hard. So the fact that he's getting weekends off for a period of time, oh my gosh, incredibly well earned. My daughter-in-law, Kalena, so that's Jordan's wife, she got a new job and I'm super excited for her. It sounds like it is going to ultimately be it's a great fit now, but I think it's going to be a long-term really good fit for her also, which is super exciting. She's super awesome with kids. She is tutoring 4 kids that she knows from when she used to work with them. It was kind of like a school daycare center. And so she knows the families from there. And it's 2 sisters who have 2 kids. They all live in one big, awesome family household. And, I get where these sisters are coming from, the moms. I think they're really smart. And so they have hired Kalena to come in the afternoons and help their kids with school, with making sure all the schoolwork's happening. She's basically functions as a tutor, walks them through, and all that time where it is like the independent study time, or if they need help transitioning, getting logged on. I mean, she takes care of that so that the sisters, the moms, that they can work. And she also seems to just be really enjoying her job as well. I guess jobs must be the theme, because as I'm sitting here thinking, and I wanted to share a little bit about Mike, and I had mentioned he did get a new job. Oh my gosh, it is just incredible how God shows up in the most unexpected ways. And I don't know why I doubt sometimes, because he has always come through. And, so Mike had this previous job that he was at. It was just, quite frankly, a schedule that did not work for our family. It was very stressful for everyone involved. He never really got much sleep. He was doing graveyards. He had these awful days. Like, basically, we had no days off. We had... because I have a flex schedule, and so basically I do 9-hour days, and so every other week I get 1 day off. So I picked Monday to be my 1 day off, so twice a month. So every other Monday we would both have off together. Other than that, no days off. And when school's in session, I mean, the kids have school. So then there's no day where the entire family is available to do something or go somewhere. And he had been in that job, I want to say, for a little over 2 years. And he was getting ready to go to work. He comes out in the kitchen and he just told me, he's like, I'm going to put in my notice. And I just remember thinking, oh, I don't think that was a question. Like, there was not a question mark at the end of that. Like, there was definitely a period at the end of that. Like, this is not like a discussion or how do you think or feel about it? Like, he has decided this is going to happen. And I was very nervous about that, about there not being a job, and like, what would we do? What's going to happen? And I was like, well, I guess we're just going to have to figure it out. And then, so he did. He put in his notice, and the very next day he went applying for jobs. And the day after that, he got a call saying, hey, I think we have a position for you. Did you put in for it? And because he had, put in jobs for multiple places. And long story short, by Wednesday, he had another job, and he hadn't even finished his full 2 weeks on the old job. And like I said, it just blows my mind. And so it was a part-time position. It was temporary. But what it led into was yet another part-time position at the same place that pays more, that is just so far been, he really enjoys it. It's been a good fit. The people are overall like very positive and supportive and kind. Just like, yeah, they're kind, and he enjoys the work. It's been like, I keep saying the same thing over and over. It's been great. It's been great, because it blows my mind how great it really has been for our family. So he has 2 part-time jobs, but they are working out just beautifully. He's home more. He's home at like normal hours. He does have to work on Saturdays in the morning, but he is still home at a perfectly respectable, decent time where we still have a whole day to do stuff, particularly with David and Elena, because those 2 like to sleep in when they can. And it's just been amazing for our family, how it has all kind of come together and pulled through. And it's one of those things where Mike and I both, as we talk about, this experience that he went through, that basically our whole family walked through with him, we just both kept commenting like, wow, when are we going to start just, believing that God is going to take care of us? There was a couple weeks ago where Mike was like, man, I didn't get a lot of hours for for this week and in the schedule coming up, I'm a little nervous. And I was like, well, we'll just figure it out. We'll just have to figure it out, because the backdrop of all this also, while this is going on, was I was getting furloughed at work 1 day a week as well. So we were kind of keeping our eye on the pocketbook there for a couple weeks. And then the next thing we know, Mike gets a call and they're saying, hey, your hours aren't going to change, but we want you to really be like, we'll pay you at the higher rate because we want you to wear your uniform and kind of function in that other capacity as well. And he's like, so you want me to basically do what I do every day anyways, but you want to pay me more for this 2-week block. And they're like, yeah. He's like, awesome. Boom. God totally took care of it. So yeah, just little things like that have kind of just reinforced to me how even when I am stressed out about, finances, or how am I going to manage with the kids, with them being at home and me being at home, God really has just kind of taking care of it. So I definitely need to give him a lot more credit because he's done just beautiful things. David and Elena kicked off the 4th and third grade at home. Our district is doing virtual school, much to my great sadness, but I've come to accept it. They were supposed to go back like late October, maybe the first couple days into November, but I was not holding my breath. And then today I got the news from the school that, that's so not going to happen. Best case scenario now is mid-November. At this point, if they go back before 2021, I'm going to be surprised. I would be just thrilled, but I'm going to be surprised. So the first few weeks of virtual school, awful, terrible, stressful. I wish I just wanted to cry. In fact, I did at one point, because it was just awful. Every single day there was a schedule change and it was all last minute. Sometimes we wouldn't find out about it until an hour of trying to log into a class on a link with IDs that did not apparently exist because they had changed it and waited to tell us in an email 40 minutes before classes start. Well, I'm already working when classes start, so I'm not checking my personal email. I kind of am trying to do that a little bit now after that happened because we've had a couple issues. But actually, Mike kind of helped me with that. He put an email notification on my cell phone because I didn't have one for my Comcast account. I had one for my Gmail account, which I somehow accidentally put that on. I don't even know how that got there. And I had no idea how to replicate it. So Mike took care of it for me. Thank you, babe. And put a notification on there so that, but I'm not always looking at my phone because I'm at work. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to get things done. A lot of times I'm on the phone too. So sometimes we miss those last minute changes, but we're working through it. I have also taken the position that I am probably not the only person who is trying to manage their kids at home. So I'm just really honest. If I have on the phone with a client and my kid comes up with an iPad and they're like, "Mommy, I need to log in," if it is appropriate, because it isn't appropriate for in all calls, but in the call where it's appropriate, I just tell them, "Hey, can I just mute you for 1 second? My kid needs help logging into class." So there are a couple clients that I deal with. They are parents, or they have been parents. They have gone through the school age kids, and they know that they're totally gracious about that. And they're like, totally, that's fine. And it takes really 60 seconds, right? Just to mute it, log them in and hand it back and make sure that they're settled. But being able to feel like I have the freedom to take that 60 seconds handle that situation. It has made it easier for me to balance. Then there are those calls where I just can't do that. Hey, mommy's in a hearing right now. Granted, it's not like the hearing, it's like a pre-hearing, but still it's being recorded. It's with an administrative law judge. I'm really trying to do my job right now. So sorry guys, you just got to wait a second. Mommy has to do this. That has happened once or twice as well. But overall, we're starting to get the hang of it. And the other thing, and it has taken a while to get there because the schedule did keep changing, David is now getting to the place where he is starting to get the hang of where to find certain things on the iPad to get into where he needs to be during a time frame. And y'all would probably have a heart attack if you actually saw the alarm app on my cell phone, because I have alarms set all throughout the day, and the alarms are just so that I know reminders to give the kids. Hey, you're supposed to transition to this next. Hey, you're supposed to transition here. And so between the two of them with their two different schedules, I feel like my phone is going off a lot throughout the day, probably because it does, but it has been helpful. That is one thing that I kind of quickly instituted. We finally got this last week, we finally got the last of David's therapeutic services calendared and put in place. And so there is still one more great schedule change to come, actually for both of them. But my hope is that it won't be too terribly difficult to navigate. So we shall see. And then, of course, anytime the kids have like assessments that they need to do, that's us parents now making sure that they're transitioning and getting to the right thing. And yeah, we have those coming up next week. But I don't know how to tell my kids this, but they're pretty much going to be on their own for a lot of that because the next 2 weeks for me are absolutely massive. So it is the way it goes, unfortunately. But we are kind of muddling through it. And I did have to take a moment and figure out, okay, I need to find a way to getting to this point. How can we get it to where it's moving more smoothly? And I was having one of those ugly moments, and just for some reason, what came to my mind was what I need to make this happen is I need to go old school. That's what I need. I need to get a paper planner. And I know it sounds crazy, but this made great sense to me. I seemed to believe in that moment that a paper planner would make everything run so much more smoother. And here is why. Even though I have always had an electronic planner, and I am still using a couple different ones. So I have the electronic planner that I use for work. That's still in place. And then I do still keep one on my personal cell phone just for like Mike's calendar, with some things. And then there are like a few other things that I want to make sure that he's aware of, that. So I still use that because we both have iPhones, and when you use the calendar function, Mike set it up so we have like a shared family planner, so I can put something on there and it also shows up on his phone. So I do still use that for things that he needs as well. But I needed a place where I could put all of these, and I do mean ever-changing Zoom meeting IDs and passwords, because oh my goodness, they have been changed multiple times. My hope is that we now kind of have them dialed in. And so once we add in the ones for, okay, so we're going to have the ones for the assessments, but those are only going to be used a handful of times. And then we're going to have the ones for the reading groups that are supposed to be starting, but usually they are pretty good about keeping those consistently. And now remember, no matter how many codes I'm dealing with, times it by 2, because David has his own codes and Elena has her own codes, and yeah. But I needed a place where if like I said, like I'm on the phone and I can't transition over, where I can just like point to it for the kids, and yes, it's going to take them a little bit longer to do it, but at least they can have the information, or, I can hand it off to Mike. And I didn't want to be handing off my phone and having to flip through my phone and find it. And I thought it'd be easier if I had it in a planner where I could write it kind of big so, the kids could see it. And I was like, all right, this is going to be what I'm going to do. The other thought process that I had with it was, if I get something that's pretty, that I like, I'll write in it. I will use it. And I was, like I said, I was having a moment. I was not having a good day. And I wanted to buy myself a present. I know it may sound like shallow or whatever, but I was like, it'll make me feel good. I want something pretty and something that's inspiring. Like, I need something to challenge me. I did have a paper planner probably about 3 or 4 years ago, probably about 4 years ago. And I got it out of the blue because I was walking through like a store and I saw it there, and it inspired me to be more intentional with my time. And for that year, for the most of the year, I did use it, and it did help me be more intentional with my time than my electronic planner did, because there is this quote on the front of it, and it moved me every time I saw it. So I wanted to get something in the same vein that would motivate me. And after about 20 minutes on Amazon, I found it. For me, it is the absolute perfect planner. It is a bright orange, like a bright, bold orange. And it says, be brave. Be brave. Like, this is where I am, people. I need a book to tell me to be brave, because there are days where I am not feeling brave, and I need a reminder to be brave. There's also a verse on here that I way dig. I love this verse. I've even shared it with Jordan in my letters to him while he was in basic training in AIT, because I was like, well, I want to encourage him, and I want him to know that if he keeps his eye on God, if he keeps his focus there, everything else is going to fall in line, and he's going to be okay. He's going to end up where he needs to be. And so the verse is Proverbs 16:3. Commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. So for me, having that on the front of my planner was very motivating. And then the other thing, I swear, I'm not getting paid by Amazon or this planner for this. I love this planner so much. In the front of every month, it has like a Bible verse there, and then it says like goals for the month. There's also a page where you can look at the whole month at one glance. And then you have your month, and it's broken down by week. But here's where I way dig it. Yes, you have your Bible verse, because it is like a Christian-based planner that I ended up buying. Then you have this space to write, I'm grateful for. In a time where it has been easy, at least for me, to kind of go, to pick out everything that's not going well, to sit down and think, what am I thankful for this week? Just that sense of gratitude and thankfulness, and physically writing it out has been really awesome. Like, I have really liked this portion of it. And then the other reason, and this is why I also really like this planner, there on the far left-hand side, I've got like this column there, and it's split up in half. And the top half of it is prayer list, and the bottom half is priorities. And then at the back of every month is this huge like 2-page spread with all these lines and boxes, and it says to do. And like, just list out everything that you want to do that month, or that you feel is something to be like checkmarked to do. So like, you write it down and then like checkmark it or cross it off once you complete it. So what I did, because I got this in September, partway through the month, so I knew I was not going to have like filled out the complete to-do stuff for September. So I took the September to-do, and I did put a few things on there, but the majority of it is all of my codes for the kids. It's Elena's classroom, meeting ID and password. David's classroom, meeting ID and password. David's OT meeting, meeting ID and password. And I mean, you get the picture, like all the way through for all of their different things. And then when I have something where it's just like, like a one-time thing, like we had an IEP meeting last week, and so we had a meeting ID number and a password for that. Well, that one, I didn't put it on the big to-do one because I'm not going to need it again, just one time. So that one gets written into, the day where I have it. Because that's right, I do. I block out all that stuff. So for instance, like I'm going through and I'm looking at it, and I've got like when, David had a speech assessment. So that's in there. I've got, Elena had like a reading testing she had to do at a kind of odd time. So that's in there. The IEP meeting, I have then certain things for work that were not movable. I see that in here as well. And kind of blocking out the time for it. One of the cool things that I did do this kind of late summer was I attended this, what was it? It was like a YouTube challenge. And so you're like, why are you talking about YouTube and your planner? Just bear with me 1 second here. This will make sense. So I participated in this YouTube challenge with the studio in mind, with Mike's studio in mind. And one of the presenters talked about how she schedules her time. And she talked about calendar blocking. And she actually goes through and color codes all her things. I'm not color coding them. But what I really took away from what she said that just really spoke to me was how she prioritized her time and the emphasis that she put on writing it down. Like you can schedule it in your head, have it in your mind. She's like, but when you put it down somewhere, whether it be in an online calendaring system or like a paper planner, she's like, things that get calendared happen. And you know what? She's right. So I have been trying very hard to calendar and actually physically write them down and put them in there and make it a priority. Even things like, when am I going to do my meal planning? When am I going to do my grocery shopping? When am I going to do an outline for the podcast? When am I going to record the podcast? When am I going to, and insert whatever it is that I want to do, such as, so my birthday was a few weeks ago. And one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to go for a run with my girlfriend. That is something that was in my planner. Like I blocked that out. Oh, that's happening. Same girlfriend had a birthday just last week. And I was like, well, what do you want to do for your birthday? She's like, I want to go for a run. All right. Now you're talking my language. And that got put down and calendared into the planner because they were priorities. I wanted to make sure that these things happened. I have a laundry list of things that I know I need to get to every single day. And the reality is, I'm probably not going to be able to get to all of them. I mean, let's just be real here. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. So I need to find a way to organize and prioritize the most important things in my life that need to get done. And this is how I've chosen to do it. And for me, it's been helpful. I even schedule things like movie night with the kids on Friday night because movie night is not just putting on a movie in our household, people. Movie night is a massive affair that requires planning. It does. It requires like a meal plan that has to go into it. It requires a snacky plan, a baking plan goes into it. Frequently there are little like treats and trinkets that also go with movie night. And the kids really look forward to it. And with COVID, there's not a lot that they've had to look forward to though. So the fact that they look forward to movie night every single week, I'm going to make sure that my kids have a good movie night. That is a priority for me. And so yes, movie night, mix it into the planner. So just things like that have really just kind of helped shape my priorities and trying to make sure that the things that absolutely have to get done are getting done. I did want to kind of just transition here for a second and take a moment to talk a little bit more though about Proverbs 16:3, the verse that's on my Bible, because I have just, ever since I got this Bible, I keep coming back to this verse. I keep thinking about this verse, and I am trying really, really hard right now to live out this verse. I just think it's so key. And so I just want to take a minute and I want to talk to the Christian mom right now. Christian mama that is teleworking or working outside the home and you still have your kids at home, or maybe your kids are going to school in some capacity, like physically in a building, and you're listening. Right now, you are specifically who I am talking to. Now, this definitely applies to everyone, but Christian mama, I feel you because I am you, okay? So I really do feel that. Right now, in this season, I get it. I totally get it. You are getting pulled in so many different directions. you're probably having to balance so much more than you ever planned or ever wanted to, quite frankly. And in case you need reminding, just breathe here for a minute. In case you need reminding, you are enough. Period. End of sentence. No buts. You are enough. In case you're doubting yourself, just don't. Just do not doubt yourself. So say it with me now, girlfriend. I am enough. I am enough. And so here's where I want to encourage you to go with Proverbs 16:3. Just take a few minutes every day. For me, I'm trying to do it in the morning, just because that's the time frame that works best for me. But just take a few minutes every day and commit your plans for that day to God. Just give him your day and say, hey, God, here's what's on the plan today. And if you let him, and if you give him the opening to, he will help you shape those plans. He will open the doors so that your plans succeed. And this totally goes for everyone, quite frankly. It's just, like I said, Christian mom, I am you, right? And especially as Christian moms, I just feel it's so important that we are intentional with our plans and with what we do and with where we put our time, and our kids and our husbands, if you have one, or your partner, are so relying on us. And I don't know about you, but I feel that weight, even when it's something as small as, David saying, hey, mommy, I'm out of shorts. Can you wash my shorts? I mean, my kid has plenty of shorts, but there's only like a handful that he really, really wants to wear. But that is something that is very important to him. And so trying to figure out, is that something that I'm going to be able to accomplish today? Sometimes the answer is no, and I'm sorry, and that's a bummer, but that's just the reality of it. But when I take a moment and just kind of, okay, God, what do you want for me today? Help guide me throughout my day, and also when I'm trying to be intentional about is when I'm filling out my planner with things, like praying over them. Like for David's IEP meeting, like that was an easy one to like, oh, I see it there. That's a big one. I'm praying for that one. And that was easy to put on like the prayer list and a priority, because that was huge for us. It's going to mark the whole next year for him with the services he's going to get, with the goals that they set for him. So it was kind of a big deal for us. But with the little things too, with the movie night, with even my call meetings for work. I used to be so good about praying over all that stuff. And so I'm trying, and I kind of got away with that with work anyhow. And so I'm just trying to be so much more intentional about what I do. What do I commit to the Lord? Am I letting God in on these plans, or am I just doing them all myself? So I'm not trying to say that all of your plans have to be for your family, because that's all you are. You're just a mom. Like, that's not it at all. Like, I'm sure a lot of your plans are. I know a lot of my plans are for my family or with my family, but there are some plans that I have for me. I want to be the best version of myself. I truly do. I can't serve my family if I'm unhealthy, whether that's physically or mentally unhealthy. I need some things to keep me balanced as well, which is partially why, running has come back into my life. And I haven't really shared too much about this with y'all, but since this probably midsummer, I have been on a weight loss journey and trying to get a healthier eating with food, and trying to be more active so that I can be healthier for my family. I got to a place where I was not healthy. I was not the best version of myself for my family. And I just kind of looked around and I was like, well, I can continue down this path and eat these cookies in front of me and that big, huge bowl of, macaroni and cheese and, whatever else I can get my hands on, because I'm not feeling so swell today. Or I can do something about the fact that I'm not feeling so swell today, and I'm not feeling like the best version of myself. And it has not been quick. It has not been easy, but it is better, like undoubtedly. And there's no way I can think that God didn't have a hand in it, because he totally did, And my hope is that I will continue to turn to him and continue to ask him to help me out with some of these plans because, like I said, what I want to be is the best version of myself. The better I am, the better I can be in all of my relationships. It's the relationships that are with my family, with my husband, with my kids. Those are the ones that matter the most to me, which is why when I'm talking about like plans and, what's in my calendar and what I care about is because that is my priority. I may be a whole bunch of different roles in my life. I may wear a lot of different hats, but the one that means the most to me, the one that I have identified as being the most important, that I am committed to being the most intentional with, is my family, is my relationships with my family and the things that I do for my family. So, I went on longer than I thought, but like I said, I wanted to just encourage you, all of you, to all of my friends and family, to my listeners, thank you so much. I do hope that we are going to be back on an every other week basis. That is my goal for you guys. Like I said, because the family is number one, and I do want to be intentional, but I also want to give you a quality show. And in order to do that, I can't do it every week. Not right now. My hope is maybe one day we can get back there. Not yet. I am excited for a few things that are on the horizon for the show. I had mentioned that I sat in on a 7-day YouTube challenge for the studio. And that is because Mike is tinkering with the idea of doing some, I guess, I don't know if he's going to do like a separate channel or not, but taking the podcast live. So then you'll be able to see me as well. Not too sure if I personally am emotionally ready for that to happen in next week's episode, but we will see. Undoubtedly, it will happen before I'm ready, because that's just how it goes, right? You got to start before you're ready. I do. That was a little nugget of wisdom in the training I went to, and there is definitely some truth with that as well. Thank you all for joining me at the Daily Grind with Jen. I hope you guys all have a great and blessed week. If you want to give me your update, because I would love to hear how you guys are doing, just drop me an email at TheDailyGrindwithJen@gmail.com, or you can comment on my Facebook page, The Daily Grind with Jen. You can also find me at Twitter @DailyGrindJen. Also, if you like and want to support the show, hit that subscribe button, comment, or you can support us on Patreon. That's all, folks. Have a great 2 weeks, and I will be chatting with you soon. Bye, friends.